The sun leans heavy over Black Hollow, casting long, orange shadows across the red clay fields and weather-worn crosses that the town's tiny cemetery. James Henry Boone, a man built from years of sweat and silence, moves slow between gravestones, boots scuffing dust, shovel swinging easy in his hand. He's known around these parts not just for his grave digging but for the grave he visits every dawn, the one marked Lila Boone, 1953 to 1974. His wife. His reason for still wearing the ring. James doesn't talk much anymore. Folks say he buried his voice with her. It's quiet work, mostly. He digs for the rich and the poor, for the forgotten and the famous, and he does it without complaint. Doesn't matter if they wore silk or chains in life. Death levels all. But even in this stillness, James sees the shift. The way the town's changed since the old mayor passed and Walter Grisham, slick hair, pink face, real estate developer turned community leader, slid into office with his American flag lapel pin and blinding white smile. James noticed it first in the hardware store. Old Earl, who once called him Brother Boone, now barely lifts his eyes. At the diner, waitresses refill every white customer's coffee twice before even glancing at his empty mug. It's small things, soft, subtle, like a blade slipped between ribs. He doesn't say a word. He just sees. So when Grisham's silver Lincoln rolls up outside the cemetery one Monday morning, kicking dust in spirals, James knows trouble's stepped out before the man even opens the door. Grisham doesn't shake hands. He doesn't say, "How are you?" He just says, "There's a job up in the north field. Fresh grave, young girl, no family to speak of. Paid in advance." James hesitates, just for a breath. Name? Doesn't matter, Grisham says too fast. She's no one. But she had a name. Someone named her. Someone carried her. The thought doesn't sit right. Still, James takes the folded bills, heavy with the smell of ink and sweat, and nods once. A job's a job. That night, James digs. Moonlight slices the sky like a clean blade. The girl's pine box lies by the open pit, too small, too light, and something in James's bones hums wrong. A tingle in the back of his neck like the time he nearly stepped on a rattler. He sets down the shovel for a second, wipes his brow. The night is too still. Then he hears it. The softest thump, barely a whisper, like breath, like movement. He kneels beside the box, fingers trembling despite himself. Peels back the lid. Her skin is pale, lips parted. And just as he leans close to make sure she's gone, her eyelids flutter. Once, twice, then fully open. James staggers back, breath caught. The dead girl blinked. She blinks again. Slow, groggy, as if waking from a dream. James stares, heart thundering, shovel slipping from his hand into the grave. He kneels beside the pine box, voice low, trembling. "You alive, girl?" Her lips part. No sound comes. She's barely breathing, skin cold, pulse like a thread, but she's alive. James lifts her gently, as if afraid she'll shatter. She's light, so light it feels wrong. Ribs show under her dress like someone stopped feeding her weeks ago. Her skin's bruised in places that speak volumes. Wrists, neck under the collarbone. Faint finger marks. He's buried bodies like this before. Women hurt by men who swore they loved them. He doesn't ask questions. Not yet. He carries her to his truck, lays her across the back seat, and drives slow, eyes flicking to the rearview mirror every few seconds like he expects the night to sprout teeth. She sleeps through the ride. Or maybe she's too weak to open her eyes again. James doesn't go to the hospital. Black folks in Black Hollow know better. Last time someone went in with a bruise, they came out in a bag with no answers and a falsified autopsy. Instead, he drives to Miss Addie's. Retired nurse. Midwife. Quiet saint of the East Side. Miss Addie opens her door, nightgown on, no questions asked. Just a nod. Takes the girl with arms strong and steady. James doesn't breathe until the door shuts behind them. Next morning, he drives back to the cemetery. Pine box still there, grave half dug. He stares at the open earth and doesn't know what to do with it. That's when Walter Grisham returns. The Lincoln glides to a stop like a predator circling back for unfinished prey. Grisham steps out, sunglasses hiding his eyes, but James can feel the smirk beneath. Buried her good, I trust? Grisham asks, voice light, oily. James doesn't answer, just wipes his hands on his jeans. Grisham squints toward the grave. Still looks open. I dig slow, James mutters. Grisham steps closer. Too close. Well, maybe pick up the pace, Boone. This one's a favor. Girl brought trouble on herself. We're just cleaning up the mess. James says nothing. But inside, the words churn like a storm. Grisham's voice drops. Black girl, married into a white family, thought she belonged. You know how that goes. She got mouthy. Got hurt. And now she's gone. That's all. Don't make it more than it is. That's when James knows exactly what this is. Grisham pats his shoulder like he's a dog that needs calming. Keep this quiet, and there's more where that came from. He nods toward the pocket where the cash had been. You get me? James watches the Lincoln pull away. His hands ball into fists. He's got no proof. Just a girl barely alive, a box meant for silence, and a white man with money and power. But James Boone has buried too many truths already.
He's not burying this one.
The girl wakes on the third morning. Miss Addie calls her child and feeds her slow-cooked grits, whispers calm in her ear while the girl's eyes flit about like she expects someone to drag her back underground. She doesn't speak for hours. When she finally does, her voice is cracked like dry wood. My name's Lila. Lila Annette Davis. James freezes when he hears it. Lila. Same as his wife. The girl's voice trembles as the story spills out. Married young to Everett Grisham, Walter's son, smooth talker, perfect teeth, pastor's smile. First few months were roses. Then came the silence, the corrections, the rules, then the fists. She told the church. They told her to submit and pray. She told his father. Walter paid her a visit the next day with papers to sign and bruises that didn't come from his son's hand. When I tried to leave, she whispers, they said I was lucky Everett married me. Said a black girl like me oughta be grateful. James can barely keep still. His jaw clenches so tight it clicks. Lila ran.
Once.
They found her, dragged her back. This last time, she doesn't remember much, just a needle. Then darkness. Then waking in a box. He looks at Miss Addie. Her jaw is set hard. They buried her alive, she says. That's attempted murder. James stands. That's war. He drives to the sheriff. Sheriff Rollins meets him with a smile, too wide. Listens with a tilted head, like James is reading him a bedtime story. Nods real slow when he finishes. Now James, Rollins says, voice syrupy. You sure you ain't confused? Girl's been buried. Papers filed. Doctor signed off. There is no doctor. James snaps.
She's alive.
I seen her. You want to see the bruises too? Rollins' smile doesn't move. If she's alive, where's she now? James doesn't answer. He's not about to hand Lila over. Rollins leans back.
Best drop this.
Messing in family business never ends well. Especially not Grisham business. James leaves empty-handed, heart pounding with rage. That night, he and Miss Addie take photographs. Bruises. The empty grave. The pine box. The girl's wedding license. James digs out old audio equipment from Lila's things, his wife's. Hidden recorder, just like she used for her interviews back when she was writing for the Hollow Times. Lila agrees to speak. Her voice, halting but clear, fills the tape. Dates, names, beatings, the doctor, who never showed his face. They make copies. Hide them in church pews. Mail them to old contacts. One ends up in the hands of Evelyn Watts, a retired reporter with a temper like gasoline and nothing to lose. She calls James. You just gave me the biggest damn match of my life. Within days, the story is whispered down pew rows and over fences. Folks start asking questions. Quiet at first, then louder. That's when things turn. Miss Addie's window gets shattered. James finds a dead crow nailed to his door. and the Lincoln starts circling his block at midnight. Grisham's voice plays in James's mind like a hymn. She got mouthy. Got hurt. Now she's gone. Don't make it more than it is. But James is making it more. He's giving her name back. Giving her voice back. And now the whole damn town is listening. The Grishams think they own Black Hollow. But they forgot one thing. Dead men don't dig graves. James Boone does the town square smells like kettle corn and tension. It's Founder's Day, when Black Hollow polishes its face for out-of-towners. Parade floats roll slow past the courthouse. Brass band blares from the high school bleachers. But beneath the bunting and fake smiles, something simmers. James Boone walks down Main Street with a cassette player in his coat pocket and fire in his veins. Walter Grisham stands on the courthouse steps, microphone in hand, delivering another oily speech about values and tradition. Behind him, Everett flashes his politician's grin, clean-shaven, buttoned up, untouched. Lila's ghost lingers in his shadow. James walks slow, steady, eyes on the steps. People part for him like tide from stone. Some whisper, some stare, but none stop him. Grisham spots him from the podium, his voice faltering just a second. And here's a local hero. Mr. Boone, you buried generations of this town, haven't you? James doesn't answer. He steps up, one stare at a time, until he's level with Walter. Close enough to smell his cologne. Cheap cover for something rotten underneath. Walter leans in, the mic lowered. You bring that girl here, Boone? That your play? Nobody's gonna believe a near-dead runaway with bruises and no proof. James raises his chin. You sure about that? Walter chuckles, too loud, the sound forced. This your big stand? In front of all these good folk? You think they'll take your word over mine? Then he turns to the crowd, arms open wide. Folks, this man here's been through a lot. Lost his wife. Digs graves for a living. Salt of the earth. But grief can twist a man's mind. James doesn't blink. Grief didn't twist my mind. It sharpened it. He pulls the tape recorder from his coat and clicks play. At first, there's nothing but static. Then, my name is Lila Annette Davis. I married Everett Grisham. He hit me. His father paid me to disappear. When I tried to run, they drugged me. Buried me alive. Gasps ripple through the crowd like thunder. Walter's smile cracks, but only for a second. He waves it off. Anyone can fake a tape. That proves nothing. You all know me. You know my family. This is a smear job by someone bitter and broken. James steps forward, close enough to see sweat glint at Walter's temples.
Funny.
'Cause I also brought someone else. He turns, and there she is.
Lila. Thin. Pale. Bruised.
But standing tall on borrowed strength, flanked by Miss Addie and Evelyn Watts. Her hand wrapped in gauze. Her chin lifted like a blade. The crowd goes silent. Everett stumbles back, face blanching. Walter tries to speak, but Lila does it for him. You said no one would believe me, she says, voice shaking but sharp. You were right until now. Evelyn steps forward, holding up a folder. Medical records. Voice analysis. Hidden footage from your own security system. You really should have erased your hard drive. Walter reaches for the mic, desperate. This is slander.
Lies.
I'll sue. No, James says, voice low. You'll answer. Sheriff Rollins approaches from the edge of the crowd. But this time, he doesn't look smug. He looks scared. Because someone tipped off the state attorney. And this isn't just a town secret anymore. It's a crime scene. And Walter Grisham is the one holding the shovel. Walter Grisham's face twists, not with shame, but fury. That deep, entitled rage of a man who's never known consequence. Don't listen to them, he bellows, pointing at Lila like she's a stain. This girl is unstable. She ran off once before. You remember that. Church folks, you remember. We forgave her. No one responds. Just stares. Cold. Calculating. 100 eyes watching him unravel. Evelyn Watts isn't finished. She steps onto the platform like she owns it, folder still in hand. You want unstable, Mr. Grisham? Let's talk about your son's search history. The doctor on the death certificate? Not licensed. Never existed. The coroner's signature? Forged. I've got copies of it all. And you, she points a finger sharp as a blade, you paid the man who buried her. All heads turn to James. He meets their gaze steady. I thought I was laying to rest someone with no one left. Turns out I was burying the truth. But not anymore. Walter starts to sweat in earnest now. Jacket clinging, mouth twitching like a dying fish. Everett tries to slip away, easing down the steps, but Lila sees it. Don't run now, baby, she says. I remember what you said while I was bleeding on the bathroom floor. No one will believe you. Remember that. She turns to the crowd. He said marrying me made him progressive. Then he broke my ribs for talking too loud in church.
Gasps.
Whispers. Reverend Simmons, standing on the edge of the crowd, lowers his head in shame. Folks shift on their feet, uncomfortable with their silence. That's when the final blow lands. A black SUV pulls up. State's seal on the door. Out steps a woman in a gray suit with a folder in one hand and 2 state troopers in tow. I'm Deputy Attorney Carla West, she says, voice crisp as cut glass. We've received multiple corroborated reports of domestic abuse, attempted murder, and conspiracy to commit fraud related to the false death of Mrs. Lila Davis. She nods to the troopers. Walter Grisham. Everett Grisham. You are under arrest. Walter roars, shoving a trooper as he turns to run, but James moves faster. Like a man 20 years younger, he grips Walter by the collar and slams him to the courthouse stone. I dig graves, James growls. Not for the living, but I know where to bury the past. The crowd erupts. Not in cheers, but in noise.
Shouts.
Phones clicking. Camera flashes. What was once whispered fear becomes public reckoning. The Grishams are cuffed, hauled away in full view of the town they once ruled. Sheriff Rollins slinks into the background, but Deputy West spots him. You signed off on that death certificate? She asks coolly. He hesitates, nods once. She lifts her pen. Then we'll be talking next. By the time the sun dips behind the clock tower, the steps of Black Hollow's courthouse are cleared. But the weight of what happened still hangs in the air. For the first time in decades, justice didn't get buried. It got dug up and paraded through town in broad daylight. 3 days later, Walter Grisham cries on live television. The clip spreads faster than fire in a dry forest, broadcasted by Evelyn's former station, picked up by national outlets, memed into history. The man who once swaggered through Black Hollow like he owned the land is shackled and stuttering, claiming misunderstandings and misguided mercy. No one believes him. The footage of Lila's bruises, the forged documents, the audio confession, the security tapes from his own home, all of it stacks high and heavy. Everett is charged with attempted murder, domestic battery, and kidnapping. Walter? Conspiracy.
Fraud.
Obstruction. And the list's still growing. Sheriff Rollins is relieved of duty pending investigation. Word around town is he's already fled to Florida. Black Hollow doesn't sleep for days. Gossip swirls like dust in the cotton fields. Churches whisper confessions. Neighbors who once waved across porches now look each other in the eye for the first time. Really look. Some apologize. Some turn away. But the air feels different now. Less sweet. More honest. James Boone walks to the cemetery every morning like always. But now, there's no box in his hands. No shovel dragging behind. Just his thermos and a battered paperback Lila left behind. Not the Lila, but his Lila. He still talks to her. Sitting on that old stone bench beneath the oak. I helped save a girl named after you, he says one morning, voice thick. She's got your fight, your fire. Wind rustles through the grass like her answer. Lila Annette Davis stays with Miss Addie for now. The house smells like sage and cinnamon, and every corner sings with warmth. She's healing, slow, but true. Her voice returns in fragments. Her laughter, shy but real. Evelyn helps her file civil suits. Says Walter's estate will pay for more than therapy bills and lost years. It'll pay for every buried lie. The town hosts a vigil 1 week later. Not for mourning, but reckoning. Folks light candles. Read Lila's words aloud. Even Reverend Simmons chokes on his apology, and though it comes late, she nods once. Forgiveness is a long road, but she's walking it. On her own feet. At the end of the night, James approaches her with something in his hand. A small metal plaque. Engraved with 2 names. Lila Boone, beloved. Remembered. Lila Davis, survived. Resurrected. Thought maybe, he says, voice gruff, they could share a tree. She presses the plaque to her chest, tears brimming. That would be beautiful. They plant it together, under the same oak where his Lila lies. No coffin. Just earth, roots, and memory. As they pat the soil down, James whispers, this town thought it could bury the truth. Lila nods. But we dug it up. In the hush that follows, the breeze carries something warm and final. Not goodbye. Not revenge. Just justice. Earned. Fought for. Held with open hands. And for the first time in a long, long while, Black Hollow begins to heal.